ओए dude, how did you blur your background?
Hi VFX.
Yeah?
Nolan might not believe in VFX. I do. इसमें यार वो है, इसमें वीडियो फिल्टर है.
So I'll have to check.
सी जो स्टॉप जो वो ऑन ऑफ वीडियो का है ना, सी जो आइकन उसमें क्लिक कर एरो पे, चूज वीडियो फिल्टर चेक कर.
उसमें कौन सा किया
तो
था?
वर्चुअल बैकग्राउंड्स के अंडर आएगा एक्चुअली. उसमें ब्लर का ऑप्शन है. नहीं है कुछ, अभी रिसेंटली आया है ये.
बूस्ट, नोया, सिनेमन, क्रीम, सीफोम.
नहीं उसमें दूसरे में वर्चुअल बैकग्राउंड.
यार बैकग्राउंड्स एंड फिल्टर्स में अच्छा, वर्चुअल बैकग्राउंड में ब्लर. ठीक है.
और पीटीए कर रहे हैं तो थोड़ा स्टाइलिशली करना है वीडियो फिल्टर. थोड़ा देयर विल बी ब्लड टाइप.
दिस लुक्स बेटर.
ऑयली थोड़ा.
क्या करते हैं?
यही सही है.
ये करना, ये वाला ऑरोरा ऑरोरिस, नॉर्दर्न लाइट्स.
रुक जाओ का देख रहा कौन सा है इसमें.
तू क्या कर रहा है?
मैं देख रहा हूँ कहाँ पे है, कौन सा ऑप्शन है, बहुत सारे हैं इधर.
वर्चुअल में ही है, वर्चुअल में ही हूँ मैं फिलहाल में.
अच्छा वर्चुअल में मैं वीडियो फिल्टर. अच्छा मैं वीडियो फिल्टर आ गया नहीं आया.
ये मैं चोमू लग रहा हूँ.
तो ऐसा कर लेना, उल्टा पीछे कर ले फिर.
ये छोड़, अभी कौन
अपना वो
बात
लगेगा, न्यू जर्सी माफिया से लगेगा. पीछे कर ले स्लिक है.
वाले.
पता है मैं एक टाइम था मेरे लाइफ में, वो सो ऑब्सेस्ड विद दैट स्लिक हेयर थिंग ना जो माफिया में करता है. उस टाइम मुझे लग रहा है कि बहुत मेंटेनेंस लगेगा उसको वैसे पुल ऑफ करने में. अरविंद कर रहा है क्या ज्वाइन?
उसी का तो इंतजार है. तू क्या कर रहा है? कौन सा लगाया तूने? ब्लर वाले में इट्स अ बिट वियर्ड, क्योंकि तू कर ही रहा है तो फिर कुछ अच्छा करते हैं.
हाँ कर ले. मैं वो मेरा होता है कि कोई पीछे देख ना पाए कितना गंदा है कमरा मेरा.
ये सही लग रहा है
और
बिकॉज
उसमें
दिस इज मूवमेंट
हाँ.
ना. ये बीच वाला.
हम्म. बड़ा सही है यार ये.
Dude, this one's cool.
हाँ this fits very well somehow if I'm still.
No. Hi guys, welcome to the podcast.
तू क्या कर रहा है भाई आजकल? हाउस लाइफ?
फिल्टर में बात करते हैं, ठीक है? How's life? Life's good, bro. I missed you, of course. कहाँ है? तू आ ही नहीं रहा था, फिर तू WhatsApp पे भी नहीं था. Then you had your college shit and stuff.
हाँ वही.
तो I kind of knew कि यार तेरे तो busy चल रहा है.
हाँ was trying to figure out the scheduling and all. तो वही था कि बहुत दिन बात कर रहा हूँ ना मैं भी, कॉलेज 2 साल की बात कर रहा हूँ तो थोड़ा मेंटेन करना पड़ रहा है तो. But anyways, other than missing me, which I did too.
Other than missing me, I think I got. I'm almost done with my second edit. डॉक्यूमेंट्री का एडिट चल रहा है और I'm looking forward to Bombay. I booked my tickets for 21st of October, so I'm going back to Bombay.
Oh, okay. 21st कब? October.
October.
अच्छा. तो next week ही.
हाँ next week ही है. Yo, Arvind, what's up? Arvind looks so bleak. We look so
he looks
low.
like he'll Rembrandt painting की तरह. Some dark.
Yo, now where's your audio, bro?
Still getting this Zoom.
Arvind, dude, you're not audible.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Now you're audible.
Okay.
किधर दबा है?
I mean, I think I should blend in, I guess.
You should.
How to do this?
Go to video filters. साले.
ये सही है. ये fit हो रहा है.
Dude,
ये fit हो रहा है.
ये fit हो रहा है.
Dude, I'm such a noob when it comes to Zoom. And so where is the video filters?
तूने तेरा swimming वाला.
That icon, stop video वाला icon.
Yeah. Choose video filter. I got it.
So see. बाजीगर. अभी रेस में जाने वाला है तू. काजल को पटाने.
ये वाला कौन सा? तो छत पे ये लगा है.
No, I'm not getting those sunglasses.
You can't keep it, bro. You already have a stylish shades. लाल वाले.
Bro, how to change the background?
What's the background?
Where's the back?
उसमें देख, उसमें दो ऑप्शन आएगा. अच्छे से देख. उसके बाजू में.
Yeah, I got it.
Arvind also chose Chagla. Yeah.
Oh, blur, that's it.
क्या बोल रहा है?
I have blur.
चलेगा, dude. Whatever you prefer.
I just got blur, man. Okay, fine. It's fine, I guess.
Arvind now looks like he is the most wise guy, the sage amongst us.
Yeah, because I have to change positions and stuff.
You look like a romantic man from a 60s film.
My hairstyle is that boring? Or?
नहीं, तेरा print, तेरा जो print है, your print is also faded because.
Yeah, it's kind of sepia, right?
Yeah, dude, your look is perfect. हम लोग.
We look high.
Yeah, I think the psychedelic background is. Yep. Guys,
hi guys, welcome to the pod, guys. So, did you guys rewatch the films?
Absolutely, but I just left two films like Master and Inherent Voice. I gave up on Inherent Voice midway. Sorry, and Master I have to watch it, but yeah, I think like
so we are doing Paul
to
Thomas
compensate
Anderson for people who don't.
Sure. And to compensate for that, I've seen like his first 5 films for like countless amount of times. So I guess that evens
out. What about you, bro?
I watched this all of his films quite recently. Like I just completed last month. All of his films. So it was on my watch list, his filmography. So I remember it pretty well. I had watched क्या बोलते हैं, Devil Blood when we were supposed to go for the Mummy. So they had that list now. So that first time I didn't like it. I didn't get the film, and I rewatched it lately. So yeah.
You did.
But I love those films.
मैं तो dude, I rewatched Hard 8 and the Boogie Nights because I think those are my favorites. Beyond beyond Master and amongst the recent, I really loved the Master and अपना what is the name? Phantom Thread.
I think like it was so contained. Phantom Thread for period film, it was so contained and it was so compact. And like I don't know, like somewhere with Inherent Voice, I couldn't judge that film because I just saw it only after a point. I kind of gave up. Maybe I'll give it a try. I'll definitely give it a try. But when it comes to like when it comes to film like Phantom Thread, the
Hmm.
PTA went for a very intimate kind of setting.
Dude, yeah. It was
Just
a character study. Yeah, it was a
yeah,
character.
most of the film happened within
But that's
Reynolds
the
Woodcock's
usual
house.
PT, right? He does dialogue so well. He writes so well. His scenes.
Yeah,
His
yeah,
scenes.
absolutely. I mean, like that whole dinner table sequence and the whole date scene, that was
And,
amazing. Like Vicky Krieps was fantastic.
oh, fantastic, man. And people don't really talk about his writing. I think he's a
No,
phenom.
I think people like really talk about that. I feel.
Yeah, I haven't really seen any interview where people have questioned how he writes scenes and what is his process.
Yeah. I think compared to Tarantino or something like because he was one of the 90s filmmakers.
Because
And,
Tarantino.
I think
kind of got overshadowed. PTA kind of got overshadowed.
Yeah,
by
also the writing.
but
of-
I think
Hmm.
bro, go ahead.
I think the writing
Yeah,
of
please.
PTA doesn't really come off as evocatively as Tarantino's comes. It's very subtle.
I was
It's
I was
very-
about to say that
Hmm.
it doesn't stand out in that sense. I mean, it merges with the film, like so. Because like if I watch a Tarantino film, no matter which film, be it Kill Bill, which is say set in modern times, or Hateful Eight, or so they'll feel like a Tarantino film. The language and everybody speaks like that, but PTA doesn't feel like that. It's
Yeah,
even in for that matter, filmmaking itself, I feel that PTA has changed continuously his style. So even that
his
doesn't stand out like that.
his narrative
Yeah, think-
decides if the writing will be as show off as other people's writing does. Because most of the times
Yeah.
you just sense the vibe of the scenes. You don't really. They're not really. Yeah.
Guys, I just ordered takeaway, so can you please excuse me for some
काय को खाना तो साथ में खाते हैं अपन लोग है तो हाँ लेके आ तू लेके आ अबे म्यूट क्यों किया गधे so I
Yeah,
think
just can we hold the conversation for some time, please?
no
Sure.
yeah so आप कतार में हैं कृपया इंतजार कीजिए
ठीक है यार, कितने दिन टेक अवे ऑर्डर नहीं किया यार.
अरे टेक अवे मेरे गांव में मोमो नहीं मिलता तो टेक अवे ऑर्डर कर रहा नो स्विगी फॉर योर
बॉम्बे मिल जाए यार.
भाई बॉम्बे जाके सबसे पहले चिकन विंग्स खाएंगे
चिकन विंग्स.
चिकन विंग्स खाएंगे दैट इज द होल थिंग प्रॉपर एक रात को
क्या चिकन विंग्स मतलब प्लेन फ्राइड या
नहीं. सबसे अच्छा चिकन विंग्स बॉम्बे कैंटीन का मिलता है बॉम्बे में बट आई गो टू केएफसी ऑफ कोर्स एंड हैव विद कोक एंड स्टफ एंड फ्राइज द यूजुअल.
हाँ, नाइस. लव दैट थिंग यार.
क्या बोल रहा है
देयर वाज अ टाइम. हाँ सॉरी.
तो कॉलेज में बिजी था. हाँ बोल नहीं कुछ भी बोल बोलना क्या बोल रहा था. देयर वाज अ टाइम.
नहीं हाँ, so because अपना ये कितना डिले होता है ना रिजल्ट्स एंड कोर्स एंड कॉलेज स्टार्ट होना. मतलब there was a time बीच में कि I forgot about cinema and I was just cooking. I was just experimenting. I was watching YouTube videos. And I in and out of what film मैं भूल गया for कुछ महीने बीच में.
My best feeling है because I have really learned to cook stuff. Like I really know how to balance stuff out there. है ना तो क्योंकि एक तो अकेले भी रहता हूँ और also I don't like shitty food because the whole point of me functioning really well is up to if the food is good or not. If the food is not good, my day is shitty. That's why I decided कि भाई मेरे को खाना बनाने का वरना अपना दिन बर्बाद है काम बर्बाद है. So फिर then I learned, dude, even I have made meals for girls. I got the skills, bro. I got the skills to pay the bills.
Nice man. तो क्या बनाते हैं तू?
Dude, I'm really good at chicken curry, बैंगन का भरता, टमाटो की चटनी, दाल पालक और हाका नूडल्स. The different kind, I don't know. It's not the usual very bland dish. but it's also something very the Chinese food stall kind of. I've learned from my ex boss. She told me a recipe and it really works. It's a bit different. She was a Bengali, so of course she cooks fucking amazing stuff. So she passed me on some knowledge. But yeah, I think if
And
I
Hakka noodles
what?
मैं पूछ रहा था Hakka noodles किस पे क्या मतलब कढ़ाई पे या किस नॉनस्टिक कहाँ पे करता है
Correct. और
वो कभी यूज किया है तूने वो जो बड़ा वाला होता है जो यूजुअली आई थिंक चाइनीज के लिए यूज करते हैं वो यूजुअली चाइनीज फूड के लिए
बाइसेप्स नहीं है भाई, देख बहुत छोटा बाइसेप है
मेरे नहीं है
नहीं, बट if I'll feed you rice pancakes with बैगन का भरता, I think he'll give me 500 rupees at least.
चल or I'll slip out like after eating this quietly to not pay. But nice, yeah.
But
Nice.
but I'll harass you and snatch you. I'll get my money.
सही है कुकिंग है यार मतलब I remember जब भोपाल में था तब I realized कि how मतलब you know initially you always think कि अरे food तो it's first पेट का होता है फिर टेस्ट बात कर entitled लोग ही सिर्फ टेस्ट के बारे में सोचते हैं but I realized भोपाल में जाके कि food is very psychological कि after a hard day's work when you are you know just being killed by your boss या on the job
Exactly.
by the end when you come back and you eat a good plate of warm food tasty whatever it is whatever you like then you forget कि कितनी गालियां पड़ी थी सुबह
that's why that's how I think यार अगर खाना सही नहीं है तो मतलब काम भी नहीं कर सकते
हमें मिलता था पता है हमें हमको वो देते थे एक तो वेजिटेरियन फूड मैं the only prejudice I have is against vegetarians मतलब but वो देते क्या बोलते हैं उसको बंगाली में लाओ कहते हैं हिंदी में क्या कहते हैं हिंदी इंग्लिश में बॉटल गुड पता है ना बॉटल गुड वो क्या पता नहीं और बिकॉज वो बल्क में बनता है ना फॉर हॉस्टल और हमारा हॉस्टल का खाना था बल्क में बनता था तो वही मतलब तेल ऊपर तैर रहा है नीचे पानी है यार और इतना पता नहीं भोपाल के लोग इतना वो भी खाते हैं चिली मतलब बहुत उसमें मिर्च बहुत ज्यादा मैं पूरा 2 चम्मच 3 चम्मच चीनी देके खा रहा था बिकॉज बहुत ज्यादा स्पाइसी था सभी साइज स्पाइसी
तो भोपाल में 3 साल रहा है तू
3 साल नहीं महीने कुछ महीने 2-3 महीने था मैं इधर ही रहा हूँ नोएडा में ही रहा हूँ
तो भोपाल क्यों गया था फिर
वो अपने फिल्म के लिए I was working as an ED film production पे हाँ बहुत ली थी यार
क्या था थर्ड एडी से फोर्थ एडी सेकंड एडी
तब तक वो नहीं होता I would have been third fourth ED because I had no experience तो मैं end of the day on field से clap tap के लिए काम आता है या थोड़े इसके लिए but I had initially been given वो क्या बोलते हैं अरे यार क्या बोलते हैं जो फर्स्ट होता है ना कि we should be beside the cinematographer and do the sequencing वो ताकि मैच करना हो सबको वो लेकिन वो काफी वो होता है strenuous job है बहुत attention to detail तो I was like चलो यार I am okay with clap but I was mainly production में mainly in charge of the screenplay and working with the writer and giving ideas and working on that so
किसको असिस्ट किया तूने कौन था डायरेक्टर
प्रभुराज का नाम सुना है कभी he worked under Ram Gopal Verma for post 2000s तो he has directed a film पहले भी ये लुप्त करके ठीक ठाक ज्यादा अच्छी फिल्म नहीं है हॉरर फिल्म थी he is doing a second film उसके लिए
अरविंद भाई आ गए हैं नमस्कार अरविंद भाई आपका स्वागत है
what did you take for takeout
no I ordered biryani and
so nice अच्छा था कि नहीं
I mean biryani for life yeah I mean like where were
we were nowhere so we were yet to begin the discussion wholly
Sure. Let us begin with this. How did I find the PTA? That's it. It's a great
Sridhar,
thing, right? Yeah.
let's go.
So let me start.
How did I
So,
find? Sorry, bro.
How did you
PTA,
find
like how did I
PCI?
find,
Acha, acha.
or I stumble across? So I was reading, Bharadwaj Raman's piece on the best films of the decade, the past decade, 2000 to 2010.
When was this?
And
When was this? When was this?
yeah, this was during the 2015, floods happened, right? Then when we were all
Oh.
trapped in our homes, it was like a mini lockdown situation. In Chennai, floods happened.
Mhm.
So during that time, I was like kind of bored, and there were semester exams, which I really didn't give a shit about.
Hmm.
And so there was like I was kind of like I was going through all these Hollywood 90s Hollywood films, and and then I stumbled across Bharadwaj's piece on the best films of 2010, and he wrote about Devil May Blood, and the writing was so good, like the way he described it whole, that whole oil sequence, the way oil gushes out of the ground, that sequence, that was he had a wax eloquent about it.
So this was the
And
first time. This was the first time you saw a
yeah,
PTA
my
film.
first brush with PTA was I think There Will Be Blood, and I don't
क्या
know,
बात है?
like my yeah, although I kind of like I felt so about that film. My dad loved the film a lot because my dad was in business, and he kind of resonated with how ruthless Daniel Payne could be and things like that. Like how he kind of like admired next time. So that was my first brush, and I don't know, like, but why the place where I resonated with PTS film was in Boogie Nights. That starting that whole tracking sequence where
हाँ, we'll come to that. We'll come to that. हाँ जी, आप
Yeah.
बोलिए. Where did you fuck off to?
yeah
Hrithik?
I think like
Disconnect हो गया था, bro.
अच्छा, कैसा? Which was your first
so
film?
yeah
हाँ, Arvind. go.
My first film was There Will Be Blood back in 20. Mami year when we three met.
yeah
So I knew of PTA before that because
Sharam karo
I
re.
knew how his significance in the canon of American cinema. So I knew about him, but I just never came about to watching his films. So I watched There Will Be Blood, and again, as I said, I did not like the film. I didn't get the film at that time. But then just last year, I thought I'll start watching his filmography, and I didn't see any of his films. So I started with the Hard Eight, and I really loved Hard Eight. And Hard Eight. So what happened was that while watching Hard Eight, so I had a cyst उस time पे in one of my eyes, and I was having a lot of difficulty just sitting and focusing on a film because I was always blinking and fidgeting. But Hard Eight was so encapsulating and enchanting, that's engaging, that I completely forgot my stats. You know how your senses kind of balance out. So I forgot my senses and I was just completely hooked to PTA. So that made me start loving PTA, and I really love Hard Eight. It's one of my favorite PTA films. So since then, I've seen over the course of this year all of his films. Yeah.
Fantastic. My first PTA film was Punch Drunk Love. Dude, I don't even know how did I, from where it came to me, but the first time I watched was Punch Drunk Love. It was in 2013, I guess. And I couldn't believe what was happening because so much was going on. And the film was very atmospheric, so which is not expected when it comes to a rom-com, quote unquote. So by
yeah
then I did a full dive because it was very different from the usual. तब तो ये देख रहे थे ना अपन Scorsese, Tarantino, all the popular directors. Cameron was finishing them. Then I came to PTA, and of course फिर तो Hard Eight दिखे तो भाई तो dude Hard Eight remains with finest debuts ever. Very well crafted यार. क्या simple film है dude. Hard Eight पे तो 1 घंटा discussion चाहिए.
I think Hard Eight like had some really amazing editing.
हाँ यार.
Like that, the editing had some humor to it. The editing had some new class style, and it was like I mean that was. It kind of reminds you of John Woo, kind of thing. That Sydney character reminds you of. He easily fits into that John Woo Melville universe of long coats and less talking, no nonsense guys. I think Hard Eight was amazing, and I kind of felt like my God, yeah, Samuel Jackson, yeah, Sam Jackson's character was kind of bit, he could have had better screen time and things like that, but yeah, other than that, I don't have a lot of issues with Hard Eight. But yeah, I mean, Punch Drunk Love, as you said, it was very deceptive. Like I just read it somewhere by Judd Apatow's interview or something where he said he cried while watching Punch Drunk Love. I thought like it would be nice, Nancy Mays kind of film. I guess. And when I opened it, it was like I don't know, it resonated with me so much with all those where you kind of like plan so much for something as as personal, and you don't kind of like that person who
Dude,
doesn't
why am I the
disclose his
only one
dreams
wearing
and things
glasses?
like that.
Dude, you guys did me. Focus. Now
I
I
mean,
look like a
to
fool.
each their own, right?
नहीं इधर 3 लोग podcast में भाई 2 3 there 3.
Okay, let me just try.
Sorry for interrupting you. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, let me finish this. Okay, so that's what a lot of his character traits. Yeah, okay, are you
Sorry.
done?
We are done with this. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. So yeah, I think Punch Drunk Love resonated because of this whole introvert kind of thing, introvert protagonist kind of thing. I don't remember a lot of films like really touching upon that subject. And yeah, I think it was the whole chaos. I was listening with my headphones on while watching the film. I was listening to the whole music, the whole anxiety-inducing music. I think Safdie Bros, kind of may have learned it from PTS films, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
And another fact, Benny Safdie or Josh Safdie, one of the Safdie Bros is in Licorice Pizza.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good. So that one, the first scene itself, that whole tracking shot where from the warehouse you go to the street and suddenly a car is bursting, like just flying off from the road.
Full
काफी
Lynchian type of feel. It's a bit surreal
absolutely.
also. In terms of,
I mean, the film doesn't care to explain everything, right?
Dude, every PTA film is so constrained in its language and narrative that he doesn't really give you an explanation for what was done and what was not. It's a very controlled chaos is PTA. So controlled.
I think I binged on PTA during the entire flood season when our locality wasn't drenched and our locality wasn't flooded. So yeah, I mean that was like the perfect time, I guess, for watching this film because yeah, please continue.
Yeah, man, we will just continue with the Hard Eight. It's rare to find a guy who pulls off a debut like this, wherein the themes are very universal. It's almost a father-son story, but it's not a father-son story, and both of the guys have to find their individual paths. Both of the guys are looking for their own redemption. There's a whole different arc of a girl. So, the way
I think I think sorry for interrupting.
Continue.
The most standout scene for me is when Sydney teaches this guy how to play that whole poker game. Oh my God, outstanding editing and outstanding knowledge. Like
the casino scenes are so awesome. Yeah, the casino scenes.
I think I rewatch it. I don't remember parts of it, but certain things really stand out. And the whole scene where John C. Reilly talks about this matchsticks and things. Hilarious.
Even the scene wherein the girl is refusing to get out of the hotel, and she's like, I want my $400. There's a man who promised her $400 in return of sex. He's lying unconscious on the bed. But that whole scene is a short film in itself. It's a completely different film in itself. It just stands out. The whole scene is so well done in terms of the element of surprise, because there are so many surprises. There are so many things, there are little details which he gives you, but everything is very this kind of not plotty in terms of there's not a plot per se, but it is very well foreshadowed as well as a little bit established. कि हाँ यार, मतलब the vibe doesn't change very suddenly, and you don't walk away from the conversation. You very much like हाँ यार, this is good information, but काफी अच्छे से आ रही है, तो it feels really smooth.
Mm. I think, yeah, I mean, also certain places, the way he used music in certain places was really good. I love that scene where, Sydney disposes that gun. Like, there is a certain, like, very, something that comes like a sitar or something. It's a very nice instrumental piece. That was really nice. It was really nice touch at that sequence. And the use of music was really good in the film.
Music, or even in terms of the way the film.
I mean, who did the music? Not John Bryan.
No, it's not Johnny Greenwood, it's somebody else. But the way the narrative works, it's not a three act structure kind of film. It also ends on a very abrupt note, but something which does not necessarily give you closure, but it feels the story will continue somewhere. Though even the narrative, it's very simple. The stakes are not that high. There is this whole redemption thing that's gonna happen if it happens, and you just see life the way he uses life to portray the vulnerabilities of our characters. क्योंकि simple है कि एक के पास बाप नहीं है और एक के पास बेटा नहीं है, and one has a lot of experience and one is a newbie who doesn't know anything about the world. It's a beautiful dynamic. There are so many very well written scenes which are filled with warmth and love, which is so rare for a guy who's doing a debut at 23. He was 23, 24 when he did this.
I mean, 23 when he did that short film and 25 when he made the film. I think the film was supposed to be titled Sydney.
It was changed later.
There was certain creative. I think Ritik has been reserved for a whole time.
Dude, Ritik is the wise amongst us. He has the last.
Yeah.
He decides what is right, what is wrong.
That won't be true, but what I was just saying, I took the same thoughts. I mean, I was very surprised that not just a debut; it's such a young debut. I mean, and he could pull off such an intimate film, and of course, it's very nascent in if you watch it in terms of probably filmmaking terms, if you compare it with the later films, but. I love how he used the characters, and one thing I've always liked about PTA is that often he consider the actor while writing the characters. That's a huge, and that shows in this film Hard 8 very well. I mean, I couldn't imagine anybody else other than Philip C. Baker Hall. I mean, in this film, that often was also there, of course, for a short scene, but the dynamics play off so well. And particularly how the characters talk and how they interact, right? I mean, there's a constant focus on procedure and integrity of the game, how to live a life, right?
And honor and themes like that.
Yeah, sorry.
Please. No, I think let me add a point. Ritik said PTA's use of actors were good. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's been consistently maintaining that actors are the best special effects in a film. So,
and it also shows, he has never casted a film wrong.
Absolutely. I completely, but I felt, in Hard 8, I felt Sam Jackson, his portions felt, a talent like Sam Jackson felt kind of crazy.
But also, I think that Sam Jackson was not the actor that he became later on. He was the macho guy. He was the Sam Jackson which was portrayed in earlier films. So I think his character was based upon that kind of vibe, because he doesn't really communicate in terms of his relationship with all the three people in the other three people in the film. he's very much an individual guy.
Mm.
This is what happens with Cohen with the films is there's a lot of how will say coincidence and fate is at play.
Yeah,
So I really like this thing. We didn't really think that Sydney, a guy like Sydney, would kill Sam Jackson's character, but he killed.
yeah. I mean, Sydney was like from the start. He wasn't even confrontational. He was more like,
Yeah, Sydney is
"Look,
not confrontation.
let me."
Sydney is all, yeah, he's all about dude survive and have a good time if we can. That's the
Yeah.
max he promises. But the way the film changes, the whole film changes in the last 20-25 minutes. From a guy,
Yeah.
from a guy who did not have anybody, who needed 6,000 for his mother's funeral, who and who doesn't really know that the guy who's teaching him everything about life has killed his own father, to have become so emotional and to have nobody else to trust other than Sydney is a tremendous growth in terms of story. Because no moment feels कि यार नहीं यार ये तो थोड़ा कम time gap लग रहा है. Everything is very smooth. You see characters breathing, you see characters moving, because it's a very indoor kind of film. There are scenes at casinos, hotels, uh, अपना diners, and in cars. It's a very indoor film, but the whole it's a very warm film.
I think this makes leeway to.
I just add
Second
one
film
thing.
of-
I just add one last point to the film that, as I was saying, I think what he does so well in the film, especially, is that he establishes a rhythm right in the first act. He establishes that idea, procedure, and a rhythm. You know that there's a progression of events, and it's through how characters react, interact. And then when Samuel Jackson comes, because they're all archetypes, right? Samuel Jackson is the archetype of the trigger happy. And that second act post, when I think they try to extort John C. Reilly and Gwyneth Paltrow try to extort the man, and so it suddenly goes haywire. He completely breaks the rhythm, and that's the genius of his screenwriting, where he breaks the rhythm and shows that what happens if you kind of
But
screw with the integrity. And then and what I love about this how it ends, right? How Sydney so he knows how trigger happy Samuel Jackson is, and as you said that he's not confrontational, and so when he goes and kills him, it's not to intimidate Samuel Jackson, it's not to create fear, it's work, and he does it and goes home, and it's not living through that vicariousness.
like a
And
big job.
yeah, exactly.
I guess I think we should. This makes way to the best film of the decade. One of the best films and one of my favorite films, Boogie Nights.
Boogie Nights. Boogie Nights.
What a film! What a breakout! Like start right from I think like from very contained debut to such an ambitious
epic.
film.
It's an epic, man. It's an epic. So
I think sprawling film, such a sprawling film. You can see like
it's almost 2 hours 40 minutes, right? It's a very long
I
film.
think, I mean, 2 hours 40 minutes is like it's lesser than long. So yes, no, Magnolia was as long as 3 hours.
Magnolia was around 3 hours.
Yeah, and like the entire power structure of the adult industry is like from the highest, like the guys I don't remember the actor's name. From the person who plays Julian Moore's husband, from him to the guy who plays who plays Hawk. I mean, he was in the Avengers, right? Guys, please help me with the names.
Who?
Hello?
Oh, wait 1 second.
Yeah,
Who am I talking about? Whose character you are forgetting?
John C. Reilly. Sorry.
Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle.
film
Yeah,
name-
Don Cheadle. Yeah, Don Cheadle.
From Don Cheadle, like to that.
Bucks Pope.
Yeah. I mean the guy who plays Julian Moore's husband. What was his name?
Oh, the Burt. That's the Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds. Dude,
Jack
from Burt Reynolds' character to Don Cheadle's character, we just like seeing how their lives change and things like that. I think some are very hopeful and some are very bleak. And I really enjoyed such a ride. the entire scene, the entire like meltdown of Dirk's career it was kind of harrowing, but at the same time, yeah, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Mind, no pun intended.
हाँ यार बच्चे क्यों चिल्ला रहे हैं यार किधर है बच्चे तेरे घर में बच्चे
No. I thought your house has kids.
नहीं I blame it on Ritik
यार नीचे खेल रहे हैं उसका मतलब वहाँ सारे आवाज करते हैं.
yeah so go and fire them tomorrow the thing for Buginets I don't know man I still haven't really I don't know how he did that film the film has so much it's packed with so many relationships and so many stories and it's a very detailed but it's also a kind of sweet look at the way the porn industry works. The film is not judgmental at all, which is matlab, come on, if you're gonna do a film about so many people and so many relationships and the growth about a guy who's gonna become the ultimate superstar, there should be some judgment or something, but it feels an inviting film. It's a very warm film. It's also it is act. It's not the usual natural acting that we see in films. Dude, it's a very there's a beat to the way that people have acted in this one. I think in terms of acting, there's a way Mark Wahlberg behaves in the first 15-20 minutes. The way he talks, the way he moves his body. Then in the next half an hour, 45 minutes, he's very different. Same goes for the characters. I think in terms of acting, there's just something that PTA did, that people were performing to the bits of the way the character was in a particular time and space. I don't recall this in any other film of this, but I think specifically in this film, he's kind of pulled this off wherein it's not caricaturist, but it is you feel it because you should behave like this. Fuck being yourself, but yeah, this is how I think this is the right emotion.
Yeah, I think it's a film about show business, but the flash is considerably toned down.
And also, in terms of this
like there used to be, those times there used to be all these show films based on films, right? There's Julia Roberts film, Julia Roberts and that romantic film, bro.
Richard Gere.
Yeah, and not Richard Gere. No. There's another one.
Pretty Woman को छोड़ के और कौन सी फिल्म है?
With whom? Julia Roberts and?
Yeah, I think that guy Hugh Grant, I guess. Hugh Grant.
Oh yeah, I know. No, Nottingham something.
Yeah, Notting Hill.
Yeah, Notting
there
Hill.
was all these kinds of films that happened at that time, and nobody was like, this is what they had to say. I think, and also one of my best favorite portions about that film is that like PTA made the film a bit personal. If you compare the anecdotes she said in the interviews with the film, you can see like there's this the character Joe Diggler has issues with his mom and things like that. Same PTA disclosed that he had he had certain personal issues with his mom.
Arvind.
And and also do you have to add anything?
No, you moving something, so I'm just telling you कि noise हो रहा है.
Yeah, and also like with the way he cast real life adult actors in the film. So that's his way of making the film very personal and a sort of fanboyish kind of film. So it's like what Tarantino did with his the latter half of the career, like with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Or showbiz films like that. So I think it was such an epic film, but still he made it very personal.
लेकिन इसमें भी सेम चीज है कि ये फादर सन वाला थीम कैरी करता है हार्डेड से.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, the character of Mark Wahlberg has to leave home because nobody gives a fuck about him.
Yeah, he needs to find a father figure, and he found that
Hmm.
father figure in this guy, the director.
The director. And he really will, he's a kid. He's not a man. He becomes a man through the director, through Burt Reynolds. And it's almost on the similar lines of the way Hard It functions. He gives
I
him.
think even till even Master had that sort of thing, right? Like Hoffman and Joaquin share that sort of a bond. I think the
There's this whole Guru
Carlson
Chela
bond
thing
has
that
been,
happens in every
yeah,
film.
it's been quite consistent in his
हाँ
filmography. Even Magnolia, there will be blood.
लेकिन
I
वो
think
है
it's,
कि मतलब
I think yeah, it kind of like cemented his style, I guess.
yeah, that this is the best universal theme that he could take and just make something beautiful out of. And he's
And
done.
also, and also I felt, like this is that only film of PTA where the whole dialogue is kind of like stylized and more
वही मैं बोल
structured.
रहा हूँ, वही बोल रहा हूँ. It's very different from his other films.
Whereas you look at the subsequent films, it's like sometimes the conversations are not very back and forth.
Very
kind of,
indirect, yeah.
Dialogue. It's kind of like he just abruptly ends it with "I don't know," that's it. And there's other films, but here it's more concise and it's
It's
more.
very moody, यार. वही तो. This film has such a mood.
It's kind of talky, but in a good sense. Like
Hmm.
the dialogue is more sharp that I really enjoy, and
But
certain lines are really quotable too.
Quotable and entertaining. It's a very fun film also.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun for the most part, I guess.
But it's again so dramatic, man. The characters are so dramatic as hell.
I find the film very similar, structurally, visually very similar to Goodfellas. I mean, the way they've captured the porn industry and the rise, fall, and ultimate end of the Mark Wahlberg's character, Doug Douglas, right? What was his name?
Yeah, Doug Douglas.
And because they use a lot of pans, and the camera is always moving, and
dude, I want
translation is yeah.
Then yeah, I'll continue later. To continue, kar.
So yeah, so I was saying that just that, and what I love about the film is that I think it's very tricky to capture something, especially some porn industry and the those films, because, and I'm not talking from the sense of its sexuality, but also its ludicrousness often within the industry, and it's of because Paul Thomas Anderson has been a film buff, and he has seen classical films, but you can see how he understands the industry, and he looks at it as a filmmaker. So even in the short scenes where you see Doug Douglas kind of those he's being the inspector and that series, and it's comedic within the world, but his approach towards that is not that. It's not. It's yeah.
There's
a lot of
this
respect
scene,
for the craft.
वहाँ पे scene है कि he says कि when he's on the rise and is becoming popular, Mark always says, yeah man, my director lets me block my own scenes. And Burt Reynolds lets him finish the whole interview. फिर आखिरी में फिर Burt Reynolds बोलता है, no, I don't let him do the blocking. I do the blocking myself.
That is really funny.
Best, yeah.
But also, I think that the humor is outstanding, because there's this one scene where. Please continue. Let me just recollect.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about how like even in Hard Date, he uses single shots, he uses over the shoulder, and he uses Steadicam a lot. Every time when characters are new with each other, there's a single shot that's happening. Every time characters are vulnerable, he moves to over the shoulder. And every time there's a lot of things which are uncertain, he goes for Steadicams. So I think this was really Hard It maybe or Boogie Nights, it's very consistent. Which is
yeah, please.
Which is very different. You don't expect this from a guy who's telling these kind of stories, which most people do with static frames a lot, but he uses these kind of.
I think so. Like because like Hollywood, new Hollywood. There's this whole new Hollywood
हाँ लेकिन वो
right?
इसका
This
स्टाइल है,
pressure, right?
मतलब his style
Right.
sort of comes from these
Yeah,
two
I
films.
think yeah, I think that sort of that whole tracking shots is like no, there's the fluidity came with Tarantino and PTA and because Scorsese I feel uses a lot of these, uses much more grandiose kind of tracking, like track and dolly kind of thing.
But that's what I
Whereas I
also
feel
realized. I'll pause. कि if Scorsese would have done the same film, let's say Boogie Nights, I think it would have been a bigger epic
yeah,
because I
no,
feel
but I felt like I don't know whether Scorsese have been
no,
playful like that whole
I'm
dance
just
sequence,
huh.
that whole dance disco dance sequence that happens with Dirk Diggler's Rise. That sequence was like it was so unexpected, but it just gelled where it just fit in so well. And also the humor I was talking about is William H Macy's that whole bit, where his wife kind of
My
gets
wife.
into that. Oh my God, was laughing around and but that New Year sequence was like,
But in this why
you won't expect that scene. It was unexpected. It was so it just
यार
blew me
मतलब
out.
जब when Macy's character complains about his wife, the DOP goes, dude, I have to get the lights and I don't think I'm getting the lights right and I need these kind of he consistently both he wants him to talk about his
Yeah,
wife not doing
he's
and this guy's like, no dude, I think we need to get that photography right. I think the director is not happy. So dude, it's such why मतलब PTA really does not want to judge these people and he really respects them for the kind of work they do.
I mean,
In,
yeah,
in terms
so
of
but yeah, please.
in terms of details, I think कि मतलब I noticed the difference. कि यार Scorsese, I don't know how he does it, but he really knows how to show you each moment in its true, authentic image, sort of. PT also does this, but PT is very different, and he lets you be a bit away from the movement and from the detail, but Scorsese literally takes you in and makes you feel it. I really
Yeah,
sense
I
this.
think it has like a lot of Scorsese written over it because like Ritik said, the Goodfellas comparison is quite accurate because the whole sequence where he takes a coke is very much similar to what Goodfellas the character, how he behaves when he gets drugged. There was a lot of like, similarities, but PK did it in his own way with all those optical zooms and with
हाँ यार
the
पीटीए का लेंसिंग
the
एकदम
repeated cuts and things like that,
जो lens
which in future would have been very overused by Guy Ritchie and Edgar Wright. Yeah,
even the way he uses dissolves here. I noticed कि
yeah. I think I
his
think
हाँ बोल
I think let us reserve it to There Will Be Blood because There Will Be Blood has some of the finest dissolves. Yeah, not for this one.
yeah but
Yeah.
dude, it is very apparent in Hard Eight only कि यार ये बंदा dissolves गजब तरीके से यूज करता है. There are 2-3 scenes where you'll notice his let you know the whole time has passed and you don't even want to object it, and it's very much in the way the dissolves are shown. बाकी फिर do you want to take water break?
No, I drank a whole glass of juice.
साले तू तो खाया भी है गधे. साले
No,
हमारी चीज
I actually ordered a. So okay.
dude, yeah, was worry about us, man.
I think we should do a two-parter, I guess. This interview, this podcast will be 2 parts.
हाँ वो ठीक है, मैं पानी लेके आया हूँ.
Like,
अभी लेके आता हूँ. Also less water left.
guys, I have an entire roll of shawarma waiting for this.
अरविंद भाई. Hey man.
So yeah, that's what I think. This should be a two-parter. Where in the first this episode we discussed maybe to Magnolia or Punch Drunk Love, Time Persists, and then like for the next part we can
Yeah,
continue from There Will Be Blood.
We'll do this till Punch and then we'll do there will be Blood, Master and Inherent Voice and Phantom Thread in the later part, है ना?
Yeah, because time sticking. So.
वैसे तो रात भर बैठ सकते हैं.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't think the shawarma and biryani will wait for me. Hey, on a serious note, just try getting your SWA license revoked.
6 तारीख 6 तारीख को हो जाएगा.
Yeah.
आज का क्या तारीख है?
So,
आज का 5.
today, 4th, today's 4th. So just try, and I hope you've written 80% is completed. I guess.
हाँ यार, मैं तो रिवाइज कर रहा हूँ इमेजेस और थोड़ा सा ग्राफिक्स और स्टफ.
Yeah. I think like I don't know whether writers can approach or producers can approach to streaming.
क्यों नहीं?
Because because Prime has had like their definite set of producers like OML and Excel and things like that. So that's what I'm saying. Are you going to should they approach via production houses or should they approach directly? That's what I'm saying.
I don't know, man. I think it should be your call. To decide.
Yeah. You just you keep everything, the papers ready. So I'll just put you through. I think my manager is quite cool. So I hope this will be a cakewalk. Yeah, let's discuss. Let's continue. So.
क्या खा
I
गया?
wanted to just quickly mention,
नहीं, continue your thought.
Okay. नहीं तो I was just saying कि that Boogie Nights was the last का sequence with Alfred J. Molina, that जहाँ पे he uses the diegetic sound of the gun होता है ना, वो क्या होता है वो जब ठक ठक करके आवाज आती है, that is the gun or some other firecracker. Anyways, that and the song and
That
oh
was
my God.
Also Gangster's House, right? Oh my
God. Gangster's House, yeah.
I think
that's
my
favorite
sequences. That's a
Yeah. You know how because every time the sound was coming, they were flinching, and like it was just I was having the same feeling.
Thing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, what and the way he has considered with the way he has used smoke and the chaos of the brilliantly done, and kudos to Alfred J. Molina, how he brought that energy to that. I mean that crazed energy, and it's just brilliant.
These guys, when these guys are going for a deal or something, this guy's more fixated to soundtrack. That was like funny and it was thrilling and it was everything at the same time. Yeah, I think that whole firecracker bit was inspired from Robert Downey Sr.'s Putney Stroke. That's one film he made called Putney Stroke, where one of the characters in the film, Chinese guy, is a Chinese guy who throws firecrackers at odd places. So that was a brilliant use of inspiration. Just a little.
I don't recall properly, यार. मुझे देखना पड़ेगा.
Dude, that scene where he goes to buy drugs at the second half, when Dirk gets washed up and he wants to go.
बाकी क्या तू क्या खा गया है? क्या पी गया है?
याद नहीं. अरे मैं वो देख रहा था कि वो क्या सीन का where he gives that baking soda instead of actual drugs. He tries to dupe the drug dealer. That's the sequence. I forgot. I was checking with the exact details. Anyways. So what? अपना क्या इसका next film क्या था? Magnolia.
No. I think this is over like quickly. I mean, there's a lot to discuss with Boogie Nights. And also I feel why is Boogie Nights
because we haven't really we didn't do the breakdown of the film properly.
Yeah. One second. But one scene that really resonated, one sentiment that kind of resonated is like where the director, Burt Reynolds' character was very apprehensive about film transitioning to digital. So I'm quite like I used to like research and things like I used to shoot photographs on film, and I've always felt like film was like very.
Arvind is a purist for viewers.
No, I'm not. No. I think I'm a purist because.
No, I think you're a purist.
I don't know, like a professional can. You may not be a
just snob, maybe.
Enthusiast.
Accept your identity, bro. Right.
So let me just say, I mean, like that whole sequence where Philip Baker Hall's character convinces Burt Reynolds to embrace video. I think that whole sequence was like had some really great use of dialogue. Where he said, "I'm a simple man, and simple pleasure," and so on and so. I think that was an outstanding scene. It was very dramatic. The whole lighting itself was dramatic. It was just great. Like the whole, it was dark and the faces were very well lit. So it's kind of shady and the mood was really big.
Well, the film actually looks like the usual porn film.
No. I don't think so.
Yeah,
It's like
मेरे को तो
too
ऐसे
obvious.
लगा. I found the look
Yeah,
of the
like
film
maybe-
a bit shady, I think.
Yeah, like the whole, the way they cut, the way they intercut with 16mm and 35, I guess. Maybe that felt like the whole way they showed that whole sequence, one sequence was like very real, I guess. But still, I felt the film was like very epic and larger than life. And also, and one of the most outstanding sequences was when, Don Cheadle's character goes to his bakery, right? That is outstanding scene. That was straight out of Taxi Driver. I felt.
And dude,
That whole botched up gun shootout was like. It's
Even-
like poems. Some kind of poems was there also. It's like a bit of poems.
this is image thing. He also deals with this idea of image of a rock star or a superstar. So Don Cheadle has that scene, where he's asking.
Yeah, he is an actor, and like he's just like I'm an actor and an artist and things like that.
No,
And
we
he
should
goes to
watch it.
band.
He's like a guy on Insta or Twitter who's seeking validation. Is this my image? Why are people asking me to change my look? Why do I need a new look? You should be the chocolate guy. He has a
I
funny
think
track.
that the whole new I think it was really good. Like I really empathize, like you kind of like feel feel a bit sympathetic towards Don Cheadle's character. And when you know that he has like a good start after his bakery sequence, you kind of feel good about this whole scene, despite the whole bloodshed of it. So, yeah. And that was
That is Arvind's 2 cents on Book Nights. Ritik.
no. I think it needs more than 2 cents.
Dude, yeah, I don't know, but I think.
Yeah, I think it's like too large to be contained within.
That's what I'm
podcast
saying.
discuss.
There are so many little details and things that happen that I don't
Okay.
remember them properly. Ritik, tu bol na. If you
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. Like, there's so many things happening. Like, I've completely. I love the film, but I completely I've forgotten the arc of Don Cheadle's character, for example. Like, what was his main, spiel in that sense?
Yeah, he
Because
wants
there's
to.
so much happening. Yeah.
I
Sorry.
think Don Cheadle's character arc is of he works at a stereo store and he's a part-time actor.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
And what he wants is that he wants to start his own records to like hi-fi audio.
underdog wala track hai uska,
Yeah. And that whole scene where he shoots his ad sequence is like he shoots an ad for his shop, right? That was outstanding. That's really important. I think Boogie Nights is a fairly feel-good kind of a film. It's not like entirely nihilistic. Like not like that whole nihilism wave of the 90s, right? Matrix and Fight Club. I think Boogie Nights was one of the.
Dude, in general, PTA's films are about ambitious people.
Yeah.
People who have at least some ambition in life, or who like the
I think
idea
the
of
payoffs,
ambition.
the payoffs are really good, but it's just the characters are put through hell.
Dude, again, कैसे लिखता है? How can he write such good characters and such distinctly particular individuals? Phenomenal stuff.
I think I've read a lot about his writing style, and I love his approach because he'll take the hook from some like he'll experiment with the creation process. Either he'll take the hook from a book and inculcate that book's source in his writing, or he'll think about a very I think with which we'll come to Magnolia, so we can discuss that in detail. But like in Magnolia, he just thought of various incidents. So and he kind of goes on with the process, and I think that's where the thing happens. Like it's because he's using, like, especially the initial films in his career are pretty much following the Hollywood system, right? The structure, I mean. But then it still kind of is able to subvert that, I feel, because of that. Because it's
dude,
living
the thing
like
is,
a writer.
Magnolia कैसे बनाने दिया? Unless there was Tom Cruise in it, the film would not have gotten made. It's such a bizarre film. It's almost a melodrama.
Yeah.